Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar, Future-Proof Your Job Skills with Agility. We're going to give people a few more minutes to stream in before we start officially, but while you're waiting, if you want to pop into the attendee chat, which I am highlighting on your console, we'd love if you would share where you're joining us from today. I know we have people from all over the world, and we always love to see that.
You see that first chat,
Molly? I do. I'm going to go in and see if I can get that updated really quick.
Ooh, I love the chat. It doesn't automatically scroll, so you can actually scroll at your own leisure.
I know. Let's see. That link should be updated. If not, it'll be updated when the webinar is on demand, and I can drop it in chat as well. All right, we've seen some Canada, Georgia, New Hampshire, Paris.
We have somebody from Nigeria, somebody from New Delhi, India.
Really are quite global with this one. That is amazing to see. I don't know about everybody else, but we have kind of had dreary weather here in Colorado, where Scrum Alliance is based, for the past couple of days. And so I am missing the sunshine a little bit.
I live in the Pacific Northwest. If we see the sun this time of year, we think there's something wrong.
I can't say anything then. We at least get sun occasionally in the winter. All right. Thanks for dropping all of these in. I know we are just at 10 o'clock, so before we officially get started with Joel, let me go ahead and give you a little tour of your console for today. So as you can see, there are lots of different opportunities for you to get engaged throughout the webinar. In the top left of your console, you'll see the slides for today, as well as the media player, where hopefully you're seeing my face. Below that, you should see a box called Related Content, and I'm going to highlight that for you now. In here, you'll be able to access the slide deck, content that Joel mentions in today's webinar, as well as the Scrum Alliance website. If you have any questions for Joel or something technical that you need to ask throughout the webinar, please pop that into the Ask a Question box. That'll go directly to me, and I will make sure that all the questions get answered as they come. If you want to learn a little more about today's speaker, check out the speaker bio as well. As you've been dropping in your locations, you know where the attendee chat is. I'll just highlight that for you one more time. And of course, today we want to see all your reactions during the webinar, so be sure to react whenever Joel says something that you love, surprises you, is an aha moment, anything like that. We'd love to see it. So without further ado, I'm going to hand things over to Joel Bancroft-Connors for today's webinar, Future-Proof Your Job Skills with Agility.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Molly, and thank you to the Scrum Alliance for this awesome opportunity and the great resources that have made this possible. So really quickly, Joel Bancroft-Connors, I am the Gorilla Coach. I'm located in the Pacific Northwest, southwest of Seattle, Washington. Really happy to be here and working with all of you. This is a huge passion for me, the specific part of enabling and working with Scrum. So let's go ahead and get started. So what's going on? I mean, remote, hybrid, in-person, what do we need to do? Will it or won't it recession? I mean, I listen to Marketplace every day, and it seems like will we have a recession is like been going on for the last couple of years. Of course, there's the ongoing theme of, is Agile dead, pervading my LinkedIn feeds? And of course, has AI finally come for us, and are they here to take our jobs? Our job's getting more complex, and just what the heck do employers want anymore? Well, I want to start with the good news. Agile has won. There is just very little about this. In fact, if we look at some of this, we can look at some of the even negative trends to see that Agile has won. Capital One, in the beginning of last year, laid off a whole bunch of people. The reason it did was because it said, we have achieved Agile success. We do not need all of the structure because it is here. It is part of our culture. Target, Wells Fargo did very similar things. We're seeing a lot of that. We're also seeing how Agile has just now become a kind of a default standard for what people are, for ways of working. I think today the vast majority of organizations are not saying, should we do Agile? Instead, the question is, how do we do it? What kind do we do? And for good or ill, do we really need these kind of people to do it? So this does mean that Agile skills are a must today, and we're going to talk more about that. But we got to develop a little bit more context. So if you haven't had time to look over this report, Skills in the New World of Work, it answers the questions, which skills are most in demand in today's workforce? So it's a joint endeavor by the Business Agility Institute and the Scrum Alliance, two nonprofit organizations that just really are focused on improving the world of work, one through really more general, broad terms like the Scrum Alliance, and then the Business Agility Institute, which is really focused on that concept of business agility and helping organizations for that creation of sustainable value. So not only do we know that Agile is one from anecdotal things like Capital One saying, hey, we're great, we don't need all these Agile people because it's imbued in our culture, we also know it from this report. Just trying to think of where to go with this. I've been talking about this a lot, and so it's really passionate. And sometimes when I get really passionate, I just kind of like, I run out of words, which for me is like interesting. Joel, run out of words? Is that possible? So again, the report answers which skills are most in demand in today's workforce. And we want to look at that and understand that because it's a really important part of figuring out, well, what do we need to do to future-proof our own job skills? So if we look at the report, the first thing is recognize there are two kinds of skills. Human skills, which are, in the old days, we used to call these soft skills, and functional skills. There are 19 of these key skills. And one of the first bright lights I saw in this report was this tacit recognition of a value for what so long was called soft skills. You can see communication, which is a human skill, is the #1 most desired skill by employers. So while it's not the greatest news for the introverts in the room like me, it is encouraging that employers are recognizing purely functional skills alone are not what is needed for success. If we dig a little deeper into this, we can start to see some more stuff here. And the first is Agile Acumen is a must. There were 5 top findings in the report, and the #3 one was Agile Acumen is a must. And what is that? It is a deep understanding of the experience with Agile principles, practices, and frameworks that we use. So that's the important part here, is that Agile Acumen is a must. And we're not just talking about having experience with Agile. Oh yeah, I was on a Scrum team or whatever, so I have Agile skills. What we're looking for here is that deep understanding and experience. We want to go beyond the learnings. You want to have experience with more than just what you were taught in your classes. The lack of why is kind of a fundamental problem that we see in organizations today. Organizations are implementing the mechanics without understanding the why, and that results in limited success. They need people who truly understand and deeply dig into Agile beyond just the superficial that you're going to learn from reading, from taking a class or just using it in a team. If you want to be really good at this, you've got to dig deeper. You've got to go to the next level. You've got to recognize that this is really a skill set in and of itself, not just how you implement it, but the knowledge around Agile. So let's look at key skills for success in the Agile world. Product leadership is one of the big skills that they called out. It's needed to represent the customer's needs and interests within the development team. This also includes prioritizing work and making decisions on behalf of the customer. And that's an important part, is making decisions, and importantly, making decisions that stick. Interestingly, product ownership is the area that they saw the most need for, where product management the least in the skills. A lot of people ask me, what's the difference between product ownership and product management? And that's a tough one, because a product manager can be a product owner. in general, and from what I saw through this report and from what I see when I work with organizations, a lot of people think of product management more as the strategic, more outbound, more senior decisions, where the product ownership is the let's take the vision and turn it into the practical tactics and turn it into the value. So they're looking for people who can take the vision and turn it into executable product backlogs. Then we also look at coaching and facilitation. Very important on the list. And I should probably have the list next to me because I always forget the order. But when you look at coaching and facilitation, it is the fourth most desired functional skill. So they see this as a functional skill, not a human skill or a soft skill, which is actually great and interesting. The really interesting thing I found about this is when you look deeper into this, the coaching facilitation pie is facilitation is actually the skill that employers are looking for the most. And I totally get this, because when I work with my Scrum Masters and I'm teaching my Scrum Masters, I tell them focus on facilitation first. Coaching is a skill you develop after you become a good facilitator with a team. As you and the team evolve is when you need to start pulling on coaching skills, that art of helping bring out what they already have in them. Before they know what to do before they have it in them, you've got to facilitate and help them get to those things. So it's interesting that facilitation is a very important part of what we think of as coaching today. That said, with this news, we would think this would be a great time to be a Scrum Master or a coach. And yet 2023 has quite often been called the coach apocalypse. The coach apocalypse. Yeah, it doesn't just roll off the tongue. Unfortunately, despite what we talked about of this being Agile has won and everything, it has not been a great time for the roles related to Agile. And the report has talked about this, it's more about skills than about roles. So that said, it's not just the Agile roles, though. We're seeing a lot of layoffs across technology and across the professional sectors. So when you're just looking at, you're just in the little Agile coaching world of LinkedIn, you kind of think, oh my goodness, the world is coming to an end. I saw some data somebody posted yesterday, and it showed that for layoffs in the industries, the engineering roles and the creative roles were actually getting hit the hardest. So I think this is more about recognizing how are employers reacting to this. Yes, it is not a great time economically. We're not in a recession, but it's still not the best time economically. And so employers are trying to struggle with this also. They have the need to be profitable and be sustained and grow. And yet they're going, well, we need these skills, and what do we need to do? And so it's causing a lot of confusion for both employers and for us. This report has helped us, though, to see a little bit here and to start to understand. Let's dig into the news and kind of see what it means, though. So the rise of the pie-shaped employee. So the report here actually, and I'm quoting right from the report, is people need to have multiple deep skill capabilities, not just one. The classic depiction of the T-shaped employee is now seen as insufficient. So we're seeing this rise in what their employers are thinking of as pie-shaped employees. And so now, instead of just having one deep skill and a broad knowledge, they want you to have two or more deep skills and a broad knowledge. So that we're seeing this rise of the pie-shaped employee. We can look at some examples of this direct from the report, like good communication skills and a high level of technical understanding. That's kind of that. We want developers who can actually communicate with leadership. A Scrum Master with stakeholder management and technical experience, or a combination of multiple technical skills, Agile knowledge and enterprise level business processes. So these are all examples. The interesting thing is the report goes on to assert that the era of the individual being just a Scrum Master or an Agile coach is over. And because many organizations are looking for multidisciplinary people with complementary skills. Yeah, I mean, what could go wrong? I got a bad feeling about this. So the PO and the Scrum Master can be the same person. That's more efficient, right? We want more than just the coaching stance. You can support 4 teams working on different projects, right? That's not going to be a problem, right? We want a technical expert who can code, do release management, people management, oh, and that Scrum stuff. I mean, what we're looking for is the pie-shaped employee is really, employers are looking for the unicorn employee. And we need to think about that. It's like, well, is that actually a good idea? And yes, employers are saying, we want these people who can do these multiple great skills all at once. Well, that's great. And if Henry Ford once said, if I'd asked people what they wanted, they would have said a faster horse. Just because the employers are saying this is what they need doesn't necessarily mean it's a good idea, and it may be on us to help educate them. And that's where we want to look into the concept really briefly of multitasking and the real cost of multitasking. A lot of times I hear organizations saying we need to be more efficient. And to that I respond with, don't you mean you really need to be more effective? Efficient. We look at Oxford Dictionary. Maximum productivity with minimum wasted effort or expense, whereas effective is successful in producing a desired and intended result. Yeah, we can be efficient and we can do cost savings till the cows come home, but if we're not actually building something that's useful, then we're not going to survive. And we can see that cost. It's actually financially irresponsible to try and have people multitasking too much. They lose time to context switching. It takes up to 50% longer to accomplish tasks when you're context switching, and you're also introducing 50% more errors. Imagine a product owner who's also a developer. Not only are they introducing 50% more bugs in the code, but imagine that the product owner made a wrong decision on which direction to take the product backlog, and you spend 3 months building something that ends up being a total flop in the market. So not only do you have a buggy product, you have a buggy product nobody wants, because we didn't have a focus. Now, that said, let's not panic. It's not that bad. The first thing is that the report said the combination of skills was not as important as having deep skill. Yes, they say we'd like a Scrum Master with technical skills. However, it's more that they want people with multiple deep skills. So that's the first thing. And an important thing here is there's a difference in context switching. If I am context switching between writing code in this coding language, and I'm coding stuff for an email application, and then I take the same coding language and I move over and I'm working in the calendaring application, that's a small context switch. If I'm writing code in an email application and I go and start creating an agenda for a team liftoff, that's a huge cognitive switch. So how can we start to see and help organizations recognize that, yeah, you want multiple skills. However, make sure that those skills are complementary to each other and they're not going to cause that conflict, not going to cause that higher rate of error. The other interesting thing, of course, is in the report, employers admitted that they were finding it difficult to find the individuals with the right combination of skills. Again, they're just looking at a set of skills and going, oh, it would be great to have this, this, and this, without recognizing whether or not those are a healthy combination of skills. So what I see this as is we actually have an opportunity here. We have an opportunity to help organizations to understand how they can actually develop healthy pie-shaped skills, healthy pie-shaped employees that will allow them to generate more sustainable value. So if we think about that, who doesn't like a good piece of pie? If we look at these are the top functional skills. So these are skills that are considered functional, not human skills. Agile Acumen, tools and software, coaching and facilitation. Take a moment and look at this list and ask yourself, do you have deep knowledge in more than one of these? I mean, I look at this and I mean, I've got Agile Acumen, coaching and facilitation, product design and analysis, project management. I am a recovering project manager. It's been over 14 years since I opened a Gantt chart. Business acumen, transformation, relationship management. So I have 4 or 5 of these very, very deep and a passing knowledge in tools and software. I try not to learn Jira, but unfortunately I keep learning it by accident. So ask yourself, do you already have multiple skills? And are you presenting yourself that way when you are working with your organizations, when you are communicating your value? This is where we come in and we connect with the Agile Coaching Growth Wheel. So the Agile Coaching Growth Wheel identifies competencies needed to be successful in leading teams and organizations, helping teams and organizations grow and deliver sustainable value with Agile and Lean principles. Again, we already know Agile has one. It is one of the most common frameworks out there today. How can we help organizations to actually use Agile in a way that they're actually going to get the full value out of it, not just a new process that they've put in place because somebody said it was good? So when we look at the Agile Coaching Growth Wheel, the first thing is, don't let the name fool you. Agile Coaching Growth Wheel. Yeah, we called it the Agile Coaching Growth Wheel because when we started the initiative several years ago, that was where we were really focused. When you look at these skills, though, you can start to see how these are really more universal into what is needed to be successful as an Agilist in any organization. And if we then look back at the new skills, excuse me, I have the hiccups, folks. If we look back to the new skills in the work, why do I always get the name wrong, Molly? Skills in the New World of Work report. We can see if we look at, we start mapping out these key human and functional skills from most important to least important, we can start to see how all of these, so many of the 19 key skills map directly into the Agile Coaching Growth Wheel. If you want to build your coaching and facilitation, well, look, there's a coaching wedge and a facilitation wedge, which give you guidance on how to grow those skills. Transformation, there's a whole wedge devoted to transformation. Teamwork and collaboration is exactly what serving the team is in the serving wedge. So you can start to see how you can use the Agile Coaching Growth Wheel as a guide to how you might build up these skills. Take the skills, take these skills that we saw on an earlier slide and go, okay, great. Which ones do I have? Which ones do I need more of? And then you can start to use the Agile Coaching Growth Wheel as a tool to help you to start to grow. Which of course goes to the, okay, now what? That's all great, I love it. We've got 150 thumbs ups, 25 hearts, got some thumbs downs, and that's good. I am not looking at chat right now. I can't look at chat and look at this, but definitely if you've got questions here, there is the Q&A section, and we will have time for Q&A here in not too long. Let me talk to you about what do I do with this information? How have I been using this information to be successful and to help the people that I've been mentoring and helping along be more successful? So the first thing is start with where you are. With this, you want to assess your current skills against the growth wheel. You want to find your strengths and you'll find where you're lacking key skills from the report. To do this, if you have any certified Scrum certification, you're a CSM, a CSPO, a certified facilitator, you have access to comparative agility. It's in your when you go into your dashboard and you go to resources, comparative agility is one of the resources you have there. One of the comparative agility reports that is there is one related to the Agile Coaching Growth Wheel. Take that assessment, and it's going to give you a report that looks like what's here on the page. What you are actually looking at is my own personal assessment the last time I did my assessment. And so you start to see where are you on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 being I'm a ranked beginner, and a 5 being basically I'm a thought leader and I'm leading the charge and everything. When you think of level 5 people, you're thinking people like Bob Galen, Lisa Adkins, Diana Larson. Those are 5s. So I'm quite happy with my scores of being in a lot of them are in the high 3s, with some of them being in the 4s, and what is called the guide level. So you want to take that assessment, know where you are. Until you know where you are and you take that really honest assessment, you're not going to be able to then go, okay, where do I need to improve? When we look at this, I mean, the reality is, as much as I am called an Agile coach, I am much more an Agile instructor and an Agile teacher and an Agile mentor. My coaching stance, my actual pure raw coaching stance, is one of my weaker areas. And so for me as a coach, that's one of the places I want to go at some point. I want to see about maybe going out and getting an International Coaching Federation certification to grow my coaching skills. The thing I have to balance, though, is what's more important to me right now, because also I've got a deep fascination in facilitation, and I've really been thinking about, well, maybe I should go get an International Facilitation certification. So again, start with where you are, understand where you are, take this report and understand where you are, what your strengths and your weaknesses are. Then make a plan. So, and I'm realizing that I've completely forgot on this. We'll have a picture of this. Molly, I will send you the PNG file for this so that we can put it someplace where people can download it. Basically, it's just a visual organizer. You can drop it on a Miro board, or you can print it out and do it in person. Map out your competencies, and then set your goals. So you take the mapping out your competencies is take what you had in the comparative agility report, put that on the visual organizer, and then go, okay, where do I want to go? And your goals can be based on your own personal, or what you think your employer wants, or the kind of job you want to go and get in the industry next. Then start to understand the competency levels as they're defined in the Agile Coaching Growth Wheel. And you can find the Agile Coaching Growth Wheel at agilecoachinggrowthwheel.org. We'll have references to that in the slides and in follow-on resources. And then check your available resources. What resources do you have to grow that? At the Agile Coaching Growth Wheel site, there is a set of resources. A lot of them are based off of Bob Galen's book, which we'll talk about it when we talk more about resources in a little while. So make that plan. Start with where you are, figure out where you want to go based on your personal preferences, what your employer is looking for, or the kind of job you want to go to, and then create a plan for how you're going to get there. And then treat it very much like Agile. Set yourself iterations, time boxes, and then do sprints towards those time boxes, then review your status, and then go, okay, where do I go? Get a mentor or get a peer to do accountability checking with you. We are missing a slide. The slide that actually has the sample journey on it disappeared. Is there a way for me to just share directly, temporarily, or not?
Yes, there is. So if you look at the top where it says connected on your console, there is a computer icon with a share arrow for a screen share.
Okay, yep, I see that. And sorry, folks. Google Chrome may not be able. Okay, that's fine. All right. Did that work? What are you seeing, Molly? You're now muted. I can't hear you. Is that me? Molly, can you hear me? Oh, great.
I can hear you. I'm on mute. I believe they can see it, and I think someone said it might actually be later if you go to slide 26. It just got moved in the slide deck.
Oh, okay. There we go. So let me stop sharing. How do I stop? Cancel. Okay. What are we looking at now?
Should be the sample journey. I have it on the correct slide.
Okay. All right. And I will move this back over here. Be patient with remote technology, folks.
Yeah.
Slide decks. All right. So here is a sample of, here's an example of using that visual organizer. Come on. And what you can see here is I started with somebody who kind of generally like a a project manager who's just become a Scrum Master, and those are the blue stickies. And then they identified where they wanted to go and what they wanted to strengthen. They really wanted to lean in more into facilitation and organizational design and Agile Lean. So they were going, basically they're going to go, I'm going to build my Agile Acumen and I'm going to become a really, really great facilitator. And that's really where they were going to start with their learning. And then they were going to build more transformation chops. And so that gives them 3 areas: strong knowledge in Agile, strong facilitation skills, and skill and experience in doing organizational transformations. And then they set themselves up with their own personal growth backlog. And so the first thing was to get Agile Lean to be a practitioner level. So that's level 3. And then bring their facilitation up to practitioner level. And then serving and transforming, and then come back here and see then they, as they start to grow, then they come back and go, okay, Agile Lean, now I want to take it from practitioner to guide. Facilitation, I want to take it from practitioner to guide. So you can start to create your own learning journey, your own goals. And then it helps you to go, okay, now what resources do I need? Okay, if I'm really looking at facilitation, what kinds of skills in facilitation am I looking for to grow and prosper in? So now let's go back here. I'm sorting my technology out. No. Oh, right. So if we connect the dots in all of this, the report tells us what skill employers are looking for and why it matters to them. Don't underestimate the why. Remember, if you want to write a good product backlog item, the why is one of the most important parts of a product backlog item. We need to understand why the employers think that these skills are important to them. Once you understand that, the Agile Coaching Growth Wheel gives us a map of how we can develop those skills. We can dive deeper in, we can go and look in the competencies, and we can go, okay, I want to move from advanced beginner to practitioner, and there's going to be specific goals there of what should you be capable of doing to be considered a practitioner level in facilitation. For me, I think this is a together thing. We as an Agile community have the ability to help the organizations, help the world to get better. Let's be the change we want to see. Don't just learn it, be it. This isn't enough to just go, oh yeah, I took a class. Oh yeah, I read articles every now and then. You've got to be and live and feel, why does Agile matter? Why does it work? Why do the core principles of transparency, inspection, and adaptation work in sprint? Why are the principles of Agile so important to the success of sustainable delivery of value? And then educate those around you. Again, together, we are more powerful if we work together to help create and grow the knowledge. I mean, this is a great example of just look at how many people are in this regional gathering in Nepal. We are a powerful community that can help change the world for the better. So I want some valuable resources, and then we're going to have some time for Q&A. So these are there are so many awesome resources out there. I had to just pick a few in some specific categories. The first, totally outside of the Agile world, I absolutely hands down recommend the Manager Tools website and the Manager Tools resources. In specific, they have a whole track in there for career tools. They have things about how to create good resumes. They have a whole, it is a pay-for product, but they have a whole product for preparing for job interviews. They have over 10 years of award-winning podcast career advice. Completely recommend them. They have been so helpful to me in my career again and again and again. Comparative agility, not just the Agile Coaching Growth Wheel assessment. There are also team and org assessments, and there are build your owns. You have free access to this with your Scrum Alliance membership. Take advantage of it, use it. Bring it in, use the team assessments with your organization. It even supports other scaling frameworks, other Agile frameworks out there have also got tools in there. So depending on what your organization is specifically using, there's almost certainly a comparative agility report for it. If not, you have the ability to make your own reports. 2 certifications I think that are really, really important and valuable right now is the Agile Coaching Skills Certified Facilitator. Again, facilitation is one of the key skills employers are looking for right now, and learning it through the eyes of Agile is just a very great way to learn facilitation without going all the way out to International Facilitation Federation and going to that level. Then the other is transformation is also an important area. And the first part of transformation is understanding the principles of growing an organization. And that's what the Certified Agile Skills Scaling certification is all about. A couple of books I'm going to recommend. Again, there are so many books out there that are so important. However, Extraordinarily Badass Agile Coaching by Bob Galen. It's based on the Agile Coaching Growth Wheel. And Bob has been a mentor and a guide to so many Agilists over the years. It's a really great resource. If you are at all involved in product space, product ownership, product management, or trying to support product spaces better, then I really recommend the book came out last year, Software Profit Streams. It's really the next evolution in business model canvases, and it really ties into that concept of sustainable value. The subtitle for the book, I'm on a small screen here. Subtitle for the book is A Guide to Designing a Sustainably Profitable Business. And that is, again, the entire purpose of Agile and Scrum is to deliver sustainable value. Agile Coaches Alliance is an alliance that is associated with the Scrum Alliance. It is all certified team coaches, certified enterprise coaches, people that really have a desire to improve the world. If you're looking for a mentor or you're looking for a coach to help your organization, you can do far worse than to go to their website and look for a coach that's associated with the Agile Coaches Alliance. And then lastly, if you need it, whilst I am a huge fan of Scrum, and I think Scrum is 90% of the time, Scrum is going to be the right framework for your team, there are going to be times when Kanban is better. If you do need to learn Kanban, I totally recommend prokanban.org. I kind of think of them as the Scrum Alliance of Kanban. They also really have a mission about improving the world of work, and they're a nonprofit organization that's really dedicated to just the value of helping teams to do better. So these are like my top takeaway resources that I recommend that you use in future-proofing your job skills. And we have the sample journey. And so now it's time for Ask Hogarth Anything. This is Hogarth. The gorilla is Hogarth, but you can also ask me questions too.
Yes. All right. So I will start giving you some questions from the Q&A. Everybody remember, if you have questions for Joel, please drop them in the Q&A, and we have plenty of time to answer them live. All right. So somebody asked, for me, it's not clear which combination of pie-shaped skills I must use or should use. Technical plus Scrum Master or Scrum Master plus PO/PM. Based on your research and experience, what would you suggest?
So organizations right now seem to really be wanting people that are like either a product owner and a developer, or a Scrum Master and a developer. I think there's an important thing here. There is having technical skill and there is being a developer. If you are, let's be honest, I am an art major. I was an art major in college. I am not a technical person. I did not even stay on a Holiday Inn Express last night. I don't have any technical knowledge. If I had technical knowledge, that would be great because it would make me a better Scrum Master or an Agile coach. I still don't want to be a developer. I don't want to be a coder. So I guess the first thing is learn as much about technology as you are comfortable learning at your level. I worked in Silicon Valley for 20 years. I know a lot about technology, just don't ever let me near a keyboard and start coding. So yeah, any technical knowledge you can learn, or really subject matter expertise. If you're going to be more in insurance products and everything, yeah, learn about insurance products. The more you can learn about that, the more valuable. That being said, if an organization says, we want you to be a Scrum Master and a coder, honestly, unless it is the only job out there and you don't have any other choice, food, clothing, and shelter always win, then don't take that job. Instead, try and convince them that you already are multidisciplinary. Look, I'm a facilitator. I am a teacher. I know about organizational transformation. I know about project management. I can help your organization to be more effective so that the developers can actually be more focused and get more done. So my recommendation is to really lean into, if you want to be more of a Scrum Master or a team coach type thing, lean into facilitation, lean into transformation, lean into advising. I'm using the growth wheel competency areas, and then of course lean into serving the team and a little bit in coaching. If you want to go into the product space, you need to become a really, really rock solid advisor. Being a product owner is a lot about getting people to make decisions and stick to them. So you need to be a good facilitator. And then you really need to step into the art of product management. And that's the learning about how to get from vision to backlog. And that's kind of outside of the growth wheel. You kind of go into serving the business, and then you dive deeper into the product space. So I guess that's my high level recommendation on that.
I think we have a question that really follows up on what you were just talking about quite well. In product ownership, how much domain knowledge versus knowledge of best Agile practices should one possess?
That is a great question. So when I teach my Scrum Master and my product owner classes, I talk about 4 attributes of a successful product owner. Credit to my mentors for learning these things. A product owner should be knowledgeable, available, authorized, and passionate. Knowledge, though, comes in 2 flavors. There is domain knowledge. Do you know the product? Do you know the customer? Do you know the competitors and everything? Then there is the art of product management. Both are important. However, if you are an amazing, if you know the art of product management really, really well, you know all the different ways to do collaborative road mapping, all the different ways to do cost benefit analysis, all the different ways to build a business model framework and everything, you are going to be able to step in and work in almost any place. One of my mentors, one of the writers of the book Software Profit Streams, Luke Homan, he was a software developer. He worked in Silicon Valley, and yet he literally comes in and he does product management type work for all sorts of industries because he knows the art of product management really well. So I really think art of product management is important. That said, employers are going to be looking for domain knowledge. So you definitely need to have that domain knowledge. The important thing, though, is, as I tell a lot of product owners, unless you are working in a very, very specific kinds of technology like cryptocurrency, artificial intelligence, data lakes, you don't need to know the technology. If you are designing apps for a healthcare service, you don't need to know the technology the developers are using to build the app. You need to know, what does the customer need? What do they want? What's driving them?
All right. We have a question about what's the difference between facilitation and coaching?
The difference between facilitation and coaching. So facilitation, quite literally the definition is to free from difficulty or to help an organization team or group to meet its desired objective. Coaching, on the other hand, is about basically partnering with somebody and unlocking what they already know. They already have the answers, or they already have the knowledge. You're basically unlocking it. So facilitation is being able to help a team. Hey, here's an agenda, here's our goal, and you help that team get there. So it's a little bit more hands-on, but you still are completely neutral. Both a facilitator and a coach have no agenda. Their agenda is to serve the team or individual they're helping. Facilitators, though, are going to say, here's your agenda, here's your guidance, here you want to make decisions, how do we deal with conflict? And so they're kind of helping an organization to get through that agenda, to get to that goal. So you facilitate a great sprint planning meeting. Coaching is helping that person that maybe already knows the answer or whatever. And so if you've got a really smart product owner, but they're bogged down and they're just lost, you might sit down with them and just ask them some strong questions to get them to think. So that's kind of the difference between coaching and facilitation. Again, I think facilitation is the skill that you should start with. Most of the time when you come into a new team, they don't need a coach yet. They need a teacher and they need a facilitator. When the team evolves, then they're going to need a coach. And you can get a more specific wording definitions of it by going to Agile Coaching Growth Wheel and looking at the competencies, and you can read the actual definitions.
All right. I mean, we have a full Q&A box, so I'm just kind of seeing what questions can be condensed together. So I'm interested in pursuing the international coaching down the line, or pursuing international coaching down the line. What areas or certifications would you recommend to start attaining that?
I think the first thing is you got to decide if that's really what you want. I'm from the Bob Galen School of Agile Coaching, and I think the coaching stance is only one small part of this, and a lot of people lean too far into a coaching-only stance. I think the first thing you have to ask yourself, is that what you need? If you really want to go into like organizational coaching, leadership coaching, people coaching, life coaching, and it's about helping people to unlock their own hidden potential, then yeah, I would suggest just go in and pursue it. Look into coactive coaching, look into ORSC, the organizational coaching. More are you looking to coach individuals or organizations, and just go pursue that. However, if you want to be able to have this as part of a well-rounded, then look at the skills that you develop through the advanced Scrum Master courses, or there's another nonprofit organization out there that Scrum Alliance has a great relationship with called IC Agile. IC Agile has some really good just peer coaching certifications. Maybe start there, and if you really, really love coaching, then consider the International Coaching Federation certifications. Though the ICF certifications, you're looking at a multi-year journey to get those, and so make sure you really want to go down that path.
All right, and I think this next question is a really good one. Do you expect this evolution of demand will result in changes to the profile of Scrum roles in future versions of the Scrum Guide?
Wow, you're asking me to climb into the mind of Ken and Jeff. I don't think so, because one of the things we have to understand is a lot of people get confused around these because, again, if we talk the technical, there are no roles in Scrums. We call them accountabilities. And it's actually a great term because when you think about it, accountability quite literally means job to be done. There are 3 jobs to be done on a Scrum team. The first job is to maximize value. I don't see that changing. If you're maximizing value, you can't be focusing on other things. You're focused on value. The second job is to create effectiveness in the team. That is this team getting the most out of this? Are they most effective and most have the highest quality they can have? And then the final team is to build the work, to create increments every sprint. That's the product owner, the Scrum Master, and the developers. I don't see us suddenly saying, "Oh, a developer, you're accountable for quality," but we also want you to be accountable for value, because that fundamentally violates one of the focus and commitment values of Scrum. So I don't see the fundamental accountabilities, the jobs in a Scrum team changing in the future.
All right. So is the desire to have a technical Scrum Master or product owner due to less technically competent architects or coders, more rapid or frequent tech stack churn? And then, a third part of this question is, how will AI and uptake insecurity risk impact this?
All right, so I'm the very first part of the question I kind of didn't catch. So can you that first part?
Is the desire to have a technical Scrum Master or product owner due to less technically competent architects or coders?
Wow. No, I don't think so. I think it's because organizations think that they're being more efficient. And again, I think literally on LinkedIn, I just had a post about efficiency versus effectiveness. One of the ways I like to think about this is a lot of people go, "Oh, we need to be more efficient." Yeah, efficient. Efficiency is driving 100 miles in 1 hour. Wow, that is super efficient. We covered a lot of ground. Effectiveness is driving 10 miles in the right direction. And it is up on us to help organizations realize that they want to be effective, not efficient. Efficient, you could build a whole lot of widgets that sit on a shelf and never get bought. Effective, you could build just a couple of widgets that sell really, really high. I don't see a slackening in technical knowledge. I think there are some brilliant architects, brilliant software people out there. It is more, honestly, I see organizations not recognizing the fundamental principles of Agile of take it to the team, let the team figure this out. We keep trying to we want product owners to tell teams exactly what to build, and product owners can't be a technical expert and a business expert at the same time. And so if the product owner tells the team exactly what to build, the team's going to build exactly what the product owner asks them to build because they want their jobs. Instead, give the team a problem and let the team figure out how to solve the problem. And any organization that goes, no, that won't work, we can't trust them, it's like, look, the United States military has been doing this for decades. I mean, when the Navy SEALs have a mission, they're not told you're going to do this, and here's your exfil point, and here's this, and here's how much ammo you can carry. They're given a mission and said, here's what you have to achieve. What do you need? And that's what the leadership goes to these people on a SEAL team. So no, I don't think it's because we're lacking technical knowledge.
All right. Got another question. I see a change in companies moving away from Scrum Masters and adding programmed managers. How can we help influence them to reconsider this change?
Program managers versus Scrum Masters. First off, I am very firm believer that there's still a place for project management and program management in even an Agile organization, just not at the individual team level. What are you trying to accomplish? The challenge is that I think people don't understand what it is a Scrum Master does, and that's on us. We haven't done a good job of explaining that. I think the 2020 version of the Scrum Guide and the way it updated some of the talk about the accountabilities helped. A Scrum Master is there. Sometimes I kind of think of a Scrum Master kind of like that big rolling toolbox in the garage. They don't tell you how to fix the car. They're just there to give you all the tools you need as you need it. A program manager is going to be the person saying, okay, this car gets fixed, that car gets fixed, and are you done yet? I think program management is important when you start to scale and you have a lot of organizations and you're trying to move a lot of teams in the same direction. I think actually Agile program management is a very important career and a very important job that organizations have. This is my personal opinion, not necessarily shared by all other Agilists. So I think there is a need for Agile program management. But at the team level, you don't need somebody going, are you done yet? Are you done yet? You need somebody going, what can I do to make you more successful? And that's what a Scrum Master does. A Scrum Master is a force multiplier. I used to talk about this kind of a basic math. I have it on a little 90-second YouTube video. Imagine you got 4 developers and you want to increase the output from this team. A lot of people go, well, let's just hire a 5th developer. Well, if you think about mythical man month, law of diminishing returns, and all that kind of stuff, adding a 5th developer, even though the math says, oh, that's 20% more effective, reality is maybe it's only that developer's only going to make the team 10% more effective. But if you hire a Scrum Master, and that Scrum Master's job is to do everything in their power to make these 4 developers more effective, if that Scrum Master makes even each of these developers 5% more effective, you've just improved the team by 20%. If that Scrum Master makes each of these developers 10% more effective, you've just increased the capability of this team by 40%. So that's the difference between a Scrum Master and a program manager. In a lot of ways, Scrum Masters are both sustainable people and sustainable process. A program manager is only focused on sustainable process.
Sorry, I had quickly found the YouTube video you just referenced and threw it in the chat.
Oh, wow. Man, you're fast.
Great with Google searches and YouTube. I think it's my generation. I think it's how we're trained. So I think you kind of touched on this really in your answer to the last question, but just in case you had kind of an expanded answer. So for 2024 and beyond, how does one combine the project manager role with Agile roles? Is there any, I know you really touched on that, but is there anything else you'd want to add to that?
Yeah, so I get this question all the time in my Scrum classes. In fact, it's part of the learning objective. So I ask people, well, where does this project manager fit into a Scrum team? And people will say, oh, the product owner, oh, the Scrum Master, oh, they're a stakeholder, oh, they're a developer. The answer is you're all right. Again, there are 3 jobs on a Scrum team: maximize value, create working increments, and create effectiveness. A project manager could do all of those. It's what are we going to focus on? A lot of times, though, a project manager is going to be a stakeholder. They're not going to be part of the team. They're not part of the team generating value in 2-week increments. They're part of the organization, making sure that the entire organization is going in the right direction. So if you go back and watch, and we referenced in here, you watch the I'm a Scrum Master, now what? I actually talk about the 2 different kinds of project managers, the doers and the facilitators. And I think doers make better product owners, and facilitators make better Scrum Masters. Part of it is you've got to decide what kind of project management do you want to be, and then lean into the job on a Scrum team that you most identify with. And sometimes that job is a stakeholder and you're outside of the Scrum team.
All right. If a CSM certification has been completed, what would be the next steps you recommend or areas to explore to continue in development?
Absolutely. So I actually talk about this a lot in my classes, and I actually have a chart which has lots of certification on it. First off is you got to decide which direction you want to go. as a if you've just finished a CSM, you can become a product owner, because a lot of people that are said, oh, you need to become a Scrum Master, would actually be happier as product owners. Again, go back to the previous webinar, and we talk a lot more about that. So you could be a product owner, you could become a Scrum Master, you could become an Agile program manager. Depending on the direction you want to go is going to depend on the path. In general, though, right now, I would hands down say that one of the next things you want is you look at what the industry is looking for and what is a key skill of a Scrum Master. Facilitation. I hands down recommend certified facilitator. Yes, I teach it. I teach it because I'm passionate about it, and I think it's a very, very important, and I have a lot of fun teaching it. So I think certified facilitation is a really, really important one. If you're just a Scrum Master, I also recommend becoming a certified product owner, because one of your jobs as a Scrum Master is to help the product owner. Also, I kind of have a thought of how a Scrum Master, in a lot of ways, the responsibility of a Scrum Master to help the team is the same as a product owner's responsibility to help a product. And so if you understand what it is to be a good product owner, you're going to be a better Scrum Master, and you're going to be able to support your product owner better. So those are really the two next steps, I would say, a CSPO and a certified facilitator. After that, you need to assess where you want to go, and because there's a whole lot of different career journeys that you could go through, which would lead you on different certification paths: advanced Scrum Master, advanced product owner, or scaling and such.
All right. Why is there a high buzz in demand for SAFe over certs like CSM?
All right. Let me tiptoe through this one gently. I think SAFe is a good scaling framework in the right settings. SAFe and Scrum at Scale, if I'm going to go for scaling, SAFe and Scrum at Scale are the two that I'm going to reach for right away. There is a new concept that Jürgen Appello presented that I haven't looked into that might be good, but there's a lot of demand for scaled Agile. Two reasons. One is the people that created Scaled Agile did a really, really good job of seeding the market and growing in the market. And so they are the 800-pound gorilla of scaling. And so a lot of people, they go, oh, well, we need this. Just like Scrum Alliance, quite rightly so, is the 800-pound gorilla of Scrum certifications. The CSM is still the standard, even though there are several other really high quality Scrum certifications out there. Scrum certification has proven year over year to be the best. Scaled Agile has done that in the scaling space, in part because they've really worked on how to help very, very moribund old-style enterprise organizations and governments be able to move to at least a slightly more agile or slightly more responsive point there. So a lot of it is they're doing SAFe, and SAFe requires a lot of setup to be successful, and so they're always looking for these things. So I think that's part of why you see more demand. I think that I think Scrum Master and SAFe certifications are complementary. I recommend people get a CSM and then skip the SAFe Scrum Master certification, and if you're going to get a SAFe certification, you want to go for the SPC, or the implementing SAFe certification, because that's the one that I kind of think of kind of like an Agile program management certification. If you're looking at how to help a whole organization, 10 teams move all in the same direction, then you're going to be helpful there. If you're not using Scaled Agile, IC Agile has an Agile program management certification as well. And so these are kind of, if you're thinking about program management, it's not an area that Scrum Alliance is currently focused on. I really hope they do in the future. But that is part of the reason, is because it's going beyond just the team and going, how are we going to bring a whole organization over for good or ill?
All right, so I think we have time for one more question, and
okay,
this is a very special question. Why the gorilla?
Why the gorilla? So the gorilla in the room is part elephant in the room, the problem no one wants to talk about, and part 800-pound gorilla that can leave your team wondering what bust it just came under. I got a reputation a long time ago for talking about the uncomfortable truths in organizations, and ended up becoming the gorilla coach because I talked to the gorilla in the room, that problem no one wants to talk about. And Hogarth has been with me since my very first days into Agile back in 2009.
All right. Okay, so as we reach the end of the webinar, I want to thank everybody for attending, and I also want to thank Joel for hosting an incredible webinar. This is such an exciting topic, and I think great tools for everybody to take into their professional development. And I think the more we all do this, the better the world of work is going to be. I also want to thank everybody for one of the most active Q&A boxes I have ever seen. We were not able to get to all of the questions, but do not worry. I will be downloading these questions, sending them to Joel, and he'll be answering them. And probably within a week or so, I don't want to put too much of a time pressure on him, but we'll get these added to the related content section on the on-demand recording webinar console, and we will email you when that is done as well. But thank you all so much. If you're Scrum Alliance members, we will be sending you a link to auto-claim your Scrum Education Unit for attending this webinar. We'll also be popping up a quick survey at the end of this webinar. It is 3 questions. You just have to rate some things on a scale of 1 to 10. And if you could do that, we would really appreciate it. We love building these webinars for you, and we want to continue to make them better and providing you more value. So again, thank you so much. And there will be a recording made available tomorrow for this webinar. You will get an email, and it'll be the same console that you're seeing today. You'll get all the same resources. It'll just be the on-demand recording. So thank you so much for joining us today. And we can't wait to see you for the next one.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.